Swamiji, for the creative people, like me or the other people who are listening to podcasts who are constantly creating something, maybe it's their art or music or, whatever they are creating, can we leverage our thought to become more and more creative? If so, then how can we use that, bring creativity in our thoughts?
Absolutely. The thought potential we have is going untapped. Now, banks may fail, economies may regress, institutions may collapse, but the treasure chest in between the two ears that we contain can always be harnessed. And with thoughts, we can do so much. So, why is it that there have been few like Albert Einstein, Thomas Alva Edison, who utilized their mind's creativity, to completely make a paradigm shift in the lives of people, and not everybody is able to do it because people fall into the trap of commonplace thinking. Everybody is thinking like this. Let me also think like this. Now,
Hmm.
if you were told to wear somebody else's underwear, you'd say, "Oh, come on, how can I do it?" But we don't mind wearing other people's thoughts, right? So
Hmm.
everybody's thinking like this. Let me wear them in my head as well. And we fall into the trap. This is how it has always been done. There's a story of the British House of Commons. A stairway leads up, and at the bottom of the stairway, there used to be one man standing. And that went on for decades and decades, and nobody knew what purpose is served by his standing until somebody went into it, and the facts unearthed were that about 50 years ago, this man's grandfather had been asked to stand there because wet paint had been put on the railing. So until the paint dried up, he was supposed to be there to tell them that, look, don't touch it because it's wet. Now, since that, it continued and nobody asked. Like for 1,000 years in Europe, people believed that men have got more teeth than women. And why? Well, Aristotle said it. So Aristotle just said it without even opening his wife's mouth and counting. And everybody accepted it because Aristotle said it. So likewise, we have to realize that there's this rut. And for creative thinking, you want to get out of the rut. Now, how do you get
Hmm.
out of the rut? I have written in detail in this book because I actually experienced it.
Hmm.
I wrote this book during the COVID period. In fact, this was the third book that I wrote in the COVID period. So I was
Wow.
in one city for a month for this book. And I would write, and then I would reach a writer's block. And at that time, then I'd say, okay, now what should I write about? I seem to have drained out. I would just go for a walk. And the moment I would start walking, thoughts would suddenly start flowing into me, ideas and creativity. And the first day it happened, I thought, okay, great. I came back and wrote 1,000 words. And the next day, same thing, next day, same thing. Then I realized that this is an essential creative process. That first you exert your conscious mind on something and then give a break to the conscious mind. Just go for a walk or do a habitual activity or just sit and listen to music. And then the subconscious mind gets to work. Subconscious
Hmm.
mind creates new links, new connections, explores new possibilities. So that's how Thomas Edison was also working. Thomas Edison's style was that he would think, and then fall asleep. And then he would wake
Hmm.
up and he would have the ideas. So it was
Hmm.
just giving the conscious mind a break. And Salvador Dali was a novelist, a creative painter, thinker, poet, playwright. So he was considered extremely creative. His style was very amazing, where he would keep on thinking, 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 and he would sit in his armchair with a key in his hand and a metal plate below. So when he would fall
Mm.
asleep, the key would fall into the plate with a clang and wake him up. And then he would find these
Mm.
ideas coming to himself. So there is,
Mm.
see, one is focused thinking. Focused is just like the torch beam. You can either focus it or you can diffuse it,
Mm.
right? So
Mm.
at times you have to focus your conscious mind. And at times for creative thinking, you have to make it diffuse.
Mm.
So that diffuse thing, you give little rest to the conscious mind and let the subconscious get to work. It will start, have faith. It starts coming up with great ideas.